stock geometry, even, all of those things, and use them in the race car.
Right. The only difference, I guess, would be to tune it for 100 octane or something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can take. I don't think it is the stock computer. So maybe there's a map switch for different fuels. But again, you have to build it, I guess, to the limit of the rules. But it's kind of unheard of, really, to have a stock turbo race car. So those were the two things that I thought was impressive: the commitment to making the cars fast, and then using the stock parts in the racing program, which, by the way, I think worked well with the Mustang.
Yeah.
The Boss. We did that with the Boss.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Camaros were replacing engines every 1 or 2 races, and I know the engineers I was working on a program with at Ford, the Camaro guys were, well, how long do you get out of the engine? And they were like, we don't know. We haven't done the season. We haven't had a reason to replace it yet. And a lot of that just comes from using the stock stuff instead of starting with the whole goal of we're just going to go buy whatever and throw it in the car, and hopefully get it to work together eventually after a year or 2.
I think people still get that bug, though. I think what a lot of people can't wait to see is Ford Racing take care of this car like they do with Mustang. I know you go to Ford Racing parts.
I agree with you 100%.
You see suspension and tires on the Fiesta, but on the Mustang you've got blower inside the car.
Understand what the Mustang is, okay? The top, you guys are in, like,
yeah.
The top-selling magazines, all the major car magazines in the U.S., the top-selling issues have always had a Mustang on them. The Mustang sells, there must be 25 different versions of the Mustang sold. Maybe 28 actually is a number I think I heard recently. But it's staggering. Whatever the case is, the Mustang entity is massive. It's been around for a long time. It is a deep root in the
I don't see a picture on
in
the
the
back
ground
here either.
with American car culture. So this is a small car, which around the rest of the world is seen as a high-performance car that's been rally raced for decades. The Focus, rally program is it's the second largest motorsport in the world, and in the U.S. a lot of people don't know what rally racing even is.
Right.
So
how would you feel about giving up the Fiesta for one of these instead?
The Focus? Well, I mean, when I see the difference, I see a wheelbase difference.
Yeah.
So with faster tracks, this will be better. Tighter tracks, the Fiesta, more nimble car will be better. But I think where I've seen anyway things going, the Fiesta is, because of the nimble nature of that platform, has been really off-road centric, and the Focus has been an ideal platform kind of for on-road, road racing type performance.
Yeah.
But it's a different way of thinking, and it's new, so of course it's not going to be something like...
we're not European yet, right?
Yeah, but small cars, I think, are making big headway in the U.S. There's the fact that, Rallycross is now in the U.S., the first race in Charlotte in a couple weeks. At X Games, Rallycross is the second or the first in the last 3 years highest rated part of X Games on the telecast. So I think people like seeing small cars do cool stuff, and I think the perception change is going to be changing in this hemisphere.
Well, I think the economy facilitates that also.
And that helps
You're
too.
looking for a small, fun, affordable car, and I think you always want fun, and you get people that sacrifice the fun because they can't afford it. So we'll have a good market, and then hopefully once you do get a following, I think the market's there. Those companies, Ford Racing is going to make all these cars. We're not a true, not a true following. So who's going to sustain the marketing and the production of those parts when you only have a handful of guys that are really ordering those parts for Mustangs? It's just never ending.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, where this car sells to me is it's family friendly with 4 doors. It's still peppy. It's probably going to get over 30 miles per gallon. Yes, probably 30.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Possible deniability. Well, it depends on how you drive it. Yeah, exactly.
All around the car.
This group won't see 30.
Every time you drive.
No, it doesn't do that.
So it's not 100% performance based. It's kind of a nice, it's a nice blend of daily driver, good power. It's got utility.
I can't speak necessarily to the ST step up from stock, but there's very prescribed performance enhancements in braking, steering, and acceleration when you go from a Focus to a Focus ST.
Yeah, there's about 5 categories where to earn the ST badge you have to have a it's a percentage increment higher in performance than the base, than the highest performing base. So it would be the titanium in this case.
So.
So that's one of the elements, and the other element you guys are touching on it. I mean, what makes this car different from its competitors even is that it brings everyday exhilaration. So it's something it can be your daily driver, and that's just one of the terms that we've kind of landed on with marketing is it's everyday exhilaration, because it turns the everyday into an amazing ride, and it's not going to beat you up like a Mazda Speed 3.
Right.
Wouldn't beat you up even like a Focus RS would if you were driving that to work every day. That'd be fun, but you know you got a 30-mile commute that's going to beat you up a little bit too. By Thursday, Friday, you're going to be pretty sore. Yep. So that's where the value of this is. You can go have fun on the weekend on the track, or you can mod it up and goose it, but you can still drive it every day.
Speaking of driving it, what's your impression?
I liked it. I've driven it 3 different occasions. One was for the Octane Academy, where we used it as a stunt car. So first time seeing it, literally it rolled off a plane, I think. They flew 2 of them over from Europe to use. It was very nice of Ford to do that, but we took them to a warehouse and we did a bunch of 360s and 180s and drove through boxes, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So that was the toy factor was there. Then we were out at the Proving Grounds in Arizona, and I got to drive one, and that was on a racetrack actually, where there were jumps and things like that, and it's remarkably quick. I didn't know the power numbers, and I didn't realize it was 270 foot-pounds of torque, but it's a lot. And what I think I was probably most kind of into, most impressed with on the track was that I was thinking I thought it was around 250 foot-pounds of torque. I was thinking front-wheel drive, I'd really have to feather things to not get wheel spin, and there never was anything like that. So it puts it down pretty well.
Cool.
It's got more torque per pound than a V6 Mustang, so that's something.
There you go. Yeah, it's
We haven't seen the dyno. We haven't seen the dyno charts. Is that torque curve pretty flat?
Yes.
It's impressively flat.
a little turbo, which means it's going to be pretty flat.
Instant spool. Nice.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I mean there's been a lot of engineering into torque steer compensation to make sure that wasn't an issue, and the variable ratio steering is also really special on this, and it's something that we haven't used on any of our other cars. So that also gives it a little extra responsiveness when you're handling. So all in, I mean, the amount of engineering that's gone into this, and the fact that everyone is aware in this country of how great Mustang is, and how every next-gen Mustang, what kind of engineering technology goes in that. But this car really represents the best of Ford globally, because it's a global product, and it's putting our best foot forward in Asia, in Europe, and here in the U.S. This will actually be the first performance car that Ford launches in Asia. So that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
It's cool.
That's huge.
With the variable rack steering, did you notice a difference as you turn the wheel more? And what did you think about that?
Right away. If you've ever driven a car with that, I mean, I guess it's hard to describe, but what you notice, like in driving around here, is there's not a lot of steering input needed to move it around. And then once you get up to speed, the on-center feel, which I think is something that sometimes is difficult for manufacturers to get right, it's kind of solid and it feels stable at speed.
Is it the same that came from Porsche that they were talking about? I can't say his name, Josh Capito or
Yost Capito. Yeah.
He said something about the steering he pulled from Porsche technology to the steering.
Yeah, I think the cars that probably had it first that came to the US was Porsche and BMW. Some of the first ones. You're not going to find something in, I think, was this 24.9, you said? In that kind of price range.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely. Hey guys, we have maybe time for one more. I know we want to give Tanner a chance to go and just kind of get in the zone.
Can we beg you to sign some stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, perfect, man.
Just take your posters.
I don't have a Sharpie.
We got one.
We're prepared.